Have you ever wondered why two people can eat the same meal, yet one person's blood sugar barely changes while the other's shoots through the roof? Most people assume sugar itself is the only problem, so they stop eating fruit, avoid bread, and fear every carbohydrate on their plate. But the real story is much more interesting than that. Your blood sugar is influenced by how your entire body responds to food, not simply by the amount of carbohydrates you eat. And once you understand that difference, lowering your blood sugar becomes much easier than most people imagine. If you've been waking up with high fasting blood sugar, feeling tired after meals, constantly craving snacks, or worrying that your numbers keep getting worse despite trying to eat healthier, you're certainly not alone. Millions of adults struggle with insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, and many never receive a clear explanation of what's actually happening inside their bodies. Instead, they're often handed a list of foods to avoid without learning why those foods affect them differently or what they should be eating instead. My name is Dr. William, and today I'm going to walk you through some of the most powerful foods that can naturally support healthier blood sugar levels. These are not miracle cures, and they won't replace medications for everyone. However, scientific research has consistently shown that certain foods can improve the way your body handles glucose, reduce insulin resistance, and help prevent dramatic blood sugar spikes when they're combined with a healthy lifestyle. The exciting part is that many of these foods are inexpensive, easy to find, and simple to add to meals you already enjoy. Before we begin, it's important to understand one concept that changes everything. High blood sugar is usually not caused because your body lacks sugar control altogether. In many cases, your body is still producing insulin, sometimes even more than normal. The problem is that your cells gradually stop responding to insulin's signal. Think of insulin as a key and your cells as locked doors. After you eat, carbohydrates are broken down into glucose, which enters your bloodstream. Insulin acts like the key that unlocks your cells so glucose can move inside and be used for energy. But after years of poor eating habits, excess body fat, chronic stress, poor sleep, and inactivity, those locks become rusty. The key still fits, but the door doesn't open as easily. As a result, glucose stays in the bloodstream longer, causing blood sugar levels to rise. Your pancreas notices this problem and tries to compensate by producing even more insulin. For a while, that extra insulin can keep blood sugar under control. Eventually, though, the pancreas struggles to keep up. Blood sugar begins climbing higher and stays elevated for longer periods, increasing the risk of heart disease, kidney damage, nerve problems, vision loss, and many other serious complications. But here's what many people don't realize. The foods you choose every day can influence this entire process. Certain foods help slow the release of glucose into your bloodstream. Others improve insulin sensitivity, allowing your cells to respond better to insulin. Some reduce inflammation, which researchers now recognize as a major contributor to insulin resistance. Instead of forcing your body to work harder, these foods help it work smarter. Let's begin with one of the most underrated foods you can add to your routine: fenugreek seeds. Although they have been used in traditional cooking for centuries, modern scientific studies have also investigated their effects on blood sugar regulation. Fenugreek seeds contain a special type of soluble fiber called galactomannan. When this fiber mixes with water in your digestive system, it forms a thick gel that slows the movement of food through your stomach. Why does that matter? Because slower digestion means carbohydrates are absorbed more gradually. Instead of flooding your bloodstream with glucose all at once, the sugar enters little by little. That gives your body more time to respond, reducing the sharp spikes that often occur after meals. Fenugreek also contains naturally occurring plant compounds that researchers believe may help improve insulin function in some people. While studies continue to explore exactly how these compounds work, several clinical trials have shown modest improvements in fasting blood sugar and overall glucose control when fenugreek is included regularly as part of a balanced diet. Many people simply soak 1 teaspoon of whole fenugreek seeds overnight in a glass of water. In the morning, they drink the water and chew the softened seeds before breakfast. Others prefer using ground fenugreek in soups, yogurt, or vegetable dishes. If you've never tried it before, start with a small amount because the fiber can take a few days for your digestive system to adjust. The next food is probably already sitting somewhere in your kitchen cabinet, but there's one important detail that most people never hear. Cinnamon has become famous for its possible blood sugar benefits, yet not all cinnamon is exactly the same. The variety known as Ceylon cinnamon, often called true cinnamon, contains much lower amounts of coumarin than the more common cassia cinnamon. Consuming large amounts of coumarin over long periods may increase the risk of liver problems in some individuals, which is why many health professionals recommend choosing Ceylon cinnamon if you plan to use it regularly. Research suggests that cinnamon contains natural compounds called polyphenols that may improve insulin sensitivity and support healthier glucose metabolism. Some studies have found modest reductions in fasting blood sugar among people with type 2 diabetes, although results vary between individuals. That means cinnamon should never be viewed as a replacement for prescribed treatment, but it may become a valuable addition to an overall healthy eating plan. Simply stirring a quarter to half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon into oatmeal, plain yogurt, coffee, or a morning smoothie is an easy habit that many people enjoy. It adds flavor without added sugar, while potentially offering metabolic benefits at the same time. But these first two foods are only preparing the foundation. The next food works in a completely different way by helping control the amount of sugar your liver releases while you're sleeping, and that hidden process may explain why so many people wake up with surprisingly high blood sugar even before breakfast. Now let's talk about a food that has attracted enormous attention from scientists over the past decade, yet surprisingly few people include it in their daily meals. I'm talking about broccoli sprouts. These tiny green shoots may not look impressive, but they contain remarkably high concentrations of a natural compound called sulforaphane. In fact, young broccoli sprouts often contain far more sulforaphane than mature broccoli. Researchers have been studying this compound because it appears to support the body's natural defense systems, reduce oxidative stress, and improve several metabolic processes that influence blood sugar regulation. One of the liver's jobs is to produce glucose while you sleep, so your brain and muscles have a steady energy supply overnight. Normally, this process is carefully controlled by insulin. However, when insulin resistance develops, the liver may continue releasing too much glucose, even when your body doesn't actually need it. This can contribute to high fasting blood sugar, leaving many people confused when they wake up with elevated numbers, despite not eating anything for hours. Several clinical studies suggest that sulforaphane may help reduce excessive glucose production by the liver in certain people with type 2 diabetes. Although broccoli sprouts are certainly not a cure, adding a small handful to sandwiches, salads, wraps, or grain bowls can be an easy way to increase your intake of this beneficial plant compound. To preserve more of the natural sulforaphane, they're generally best eaten raw or only lightly heated. But here's where things become even more interesting. Many people focus entirely on removing foods from their diet, believing that every improvement requires giving something up. In reality, adding the right foods often creates a much bigger impact than endlessly restricting yourself. That's exactly why our next food deserves far more attention than it usually receives. Avocados are sometimes avoided because they're high in fat and calories. Yet the type of fat found in avocados is primarily monounsaturated fat, the same heart-friendly fat that's abundant in extra virgin olive oil. This healthy fat, combined with the avocado's fiber, slows digestion and helps reduce the speed at which carbohydrates are converted into glucose. Imagine eating a slice of whole grain toast by itself. Your digestive system quickly begins breaking it down into glucose, causing blood sugar to rise relatively fast. Now imagine eating that same slice of toast topped with mashed avocado, tomato, and a boiled egg. The protein, fiber, and healthy fats work together to slow digestion, creating a gentler increase in blood sugar instead of a sharp spike. This is one reason nutrition experts often recommend building balanced meals rather than focusing on single ingredients. A meal containing protein, healthy fat, and fiber usually produces a steadier glucose response than carbohydrates eaten alone. Half an avocado with breakfast or lunch is enough for most people, It pairs beautifully with eggs, salads, grilled chicken, beans, or whole grain toast while helping you stay satisfied longer. Feeling fuller also makes it easier to avoid reaching for sugary snacks between meals. The surprising part is that one of the smallest foods on your grocery shelf may also be one of the most powerful. Chia seeds may be tiny, but they're packed with soluble fiber. When mixed with water, yogurt, or milk, they absorb liquid and form a thick gel. That same process happens inside your digestive system. As carbohydrates move through your stomach and intestines, the gel slows their digestion and absorption, allowing glucose to enter the bloodstream more gradually. This slower release doesn't just help reduce blood sugar spikes, it may also improve satiety, meaning you stay full longer after eating. Many people who regularly include chia seeds in breakfast notice fewer mid-morning cravings and less temptation to snack on highly processed foods. Chia seeds also provide plant-based omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, magnesium, and several other nutrients that support overall metabolic health. While no single food can reverse insulin resistance on its own, combining many small improvements often produces meaningful long-term results. 1 to 2 tablespoons per day is usually enough. You can stir them into plain Greek yogurt, blend them into smoothies, sprinkle them over oatmeal, or prepare overnight chia pudding with unsweetened milk and fresh berries. Now let's move to a food that's especially important if inflammation is contributing to insulin resistance. Fatty fish such as salmon, sardines, trout, and mackerel provide 2 marine omega-3 fatty acids known as EPA and DHA. Unlike plant-based omega-3s, these forms are readily used by the body and have been extensively studied for their role in cardiovascular health. People living with diabetes face a higher risk of heart disease, making these healthy fats particularly valuable. Chronic inflammation can interfere with insulin signaling, making it harder for cells to absorb glucose efficiently. Although omega-3 fats are not a direct treatment for diabetes, they support overall heart health and may help reduce some inflammatory processes associated with metabolic disease. Most major health organizations recommend eating fatty fish at least twice each week. Baking, grilling, steaming, or air frying are healthier cooking methods than deep frying, which can add unnecessary saturated fat and calories. If fresh fish isn't available or doesn't fit your budget, canned salmon and sardines can be excellent alternatives. They're affordable, convenient, and retain most of their nutritional value. Many people assume healthy eating has to be expensive, but that's simply not true. Some of the best blood sugar-friendly foods cost very little compared with processed convenience foods, and that's what changes everything. Managing blood sugar isn't about chasing one magical ingredient. It's about creating an eating pattern where every meal works with your body instead of against it. Each healthy choice may seem small by itself, but those choices begin stacking together day after day. Your cells receive steadier energy, insulin doesn't have to work as hard, inflammation gradually decreases, and your glucose levels often become more predictable. We're only halfway through the list, and the next foods may be the easiest of all to include because they fit naturally into everyday snacks, breakfasts, and dinners. One of them has even been shown to influence blood sugar at your very next meal, creating benefits that continue long after you've finished eating. Now let's continue with the remaining foods that can help support healthier blood sugar levels, and more importantly, show you how all of these choices work together as part of a sustainable lifestyle. The next food is walnuts. They may seem like nothing more than a convenient snack, but they're packed with nutrients that support both heart health and blood sugar control. Walnuts contain healthy polyunsaturated fats, fiber, plant protein, magnesium, and antioxidants. This combination helps slow digestion, making it less likely that your blood sugar will rise sharply after eating. Research has also shown that regularly replacing processed snacks with nuts may improve overall diet quality and support better insulin sensitivity over time. The key word here is replacement. Eating a handful of walnuts instead of potato chips, cookies, or candy creates a completely different response inside your body. Rather than experiencing a rapid spike followed by a crash that leaves you hungry again, you provide your body with lasting energy and nutrients that satisfy your appetite for much longer. About 7 to 10 whole walnuts make an ideal serving for most people. Now let's talk about a breakfast food that has been surrounded by confusion for years: eggs. Many people still avoid whole eggs because of outdated concerns about cholesterol. However, current nutrition research shows that for most healthy adults, eggs can absolutely be part of a balanced eating plan. Eggs are naturally rich in high-quality protein while containing very little carbohydrate. That means they have only a minimal effect on blood sugar levels. Even more interesting is what researchers sometimes call the second meal effect. A breakfast built around protein instead of refined carbohydrates may improve your blood sugar response, not only at breakfast, but also during the next meal later in the day. Starting your morning with eggs, vegetables, and healthy fats often reduces cravings and helps prevent the cycle of constant snacking that many people experience after eating sugary cereals or pastries. Adding spinach, tomatoes, mushrooms, or peppers to scrambled eggs creates an even more nutritious meal by increasing fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants without adding excessive carbohydrates. But here's something that surprises many people. One common kitchen ingredient may slightly reduce blood sugar after meals when used correctly, although it's important to understand both its benefits and its limitations. Apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid, which researchers believe may slow stomach emptying and improve the way muscles use glucose after eating. Some studies have shown modest reductions in post-meal blood sugar when diluted vinegar is consumed before carbohydrate-containing meals. If you choose to try it, always dilute 1 tablespoon in a full glass of water. Drinking vinegar straight can damage tooth enamel and irritate your throat. People taking insulin or medications that lower blood sugar should speak with their healthcare provider first, because combining treatments may increase the risk of blood sugar dropping too low. The final food on today's list proves one of the biggest myths about diabetes is simply wrong. Many people believe every carbohydrate is harmful, yet lentils tell a very different story. Lentils are technically a carbohydrate, but they're also rich in fiber, plant protein, vitamins, minerals, and resistant starch. These nutrients dramatically slow digestion, allowing glucose to enter the bloodstream gradually instead of all at once. Compared with refined grains like white bread or white rice, lentils usually produce a much smaller rise in blood sugar. Several studies have shown that replacing refined carbohydrates with legumes such as lentils, beans, and chickpeas can improve blood sugar management and even help lower A1C over time when combined with other healthy lifestyle habits. A simple bowl of lentil soup, a lentil salad, or lentils served alongside grilled chicken and vegetables can become one of the most satisfying meals in your weekly routine. Now let me share a story that reminds us why these small changes matter. A patient I'll call Susan came into my clinic shortly after her 65th birthday. Her fasting blood sugar had been climbing for years, and she was convinced that medication alone was her only option. She rarely ate vegetables, skipped breakfast, relied on packaged snacks during the afternoon, and finished most evenings with dessert because she felt exhausted and constantly hungry. Instead of asking her to follow an impossible diet, we focused on gradual improvements. She began eating eggs with vegetables instead of sweet pastries in the morning. She added walnuts as her afternoon snack. Lentils replaced white rice twice each week. She started including salmon at dinner, sprinkled chia seeds into yogurt, added cinnamon to her oatmeal, and enjoyed avocado with lunch several times each week. Within weeks, she noticed she wasn't constantly hungry anymore. Her energy improved, and she stopped experiencing the afternoon crashes that had become part of her daily routine. Over the following months, her healthcare team monitored her progress carefully. Alongside regular physical activity, improved sleep, and weight loss, her blood sugar numbers steadily improved. Most importantly, she felt confident because these were habits she could actually maintain. Stories like Susan's don't happen because of one magical food. They happen because consistent healthy habits allow the body to function more efficiently day after day. Remember, no single food can cure diabetes or instantly reverse insulin resistance. Blood sugar management depends on many factors, including nutrition, exercise, sleep quality, stress levels, medications when needed, genetics, and regular medical care. But food remains one of the few things you have the power to improve every single day. So what should you do first? Start small. Choose 1 or 2 of these foods this week instead of trying to change everything overnight. Build balanced meals that combine lean protein, healthy fats, fiber-rich vegetables, and minimally processed carbohydrates. Drink enough water, stay physically active, and aim for consistent sleep because all of these habits work together. If you're already monitoring your blood sugar at home, pay attention to how your body responds after meals. You may discover that small changes create meaningful improvements over time. Keep a simple record of your meals, your glucose readings if recommended by your healthcare provider, and how you feel throughout the day. Those patterns often become your greatest teacher. One final reminder before we finish. If you're taking insulin or medications that lower blood sugar, never stop or adjust them without guidance from your doctor. As your eating habits improve, your medication needs may also change, but those decisions should always be made together with your healthcare team to keep you safe. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. Every healthier meal is another opportunity to support your heart, protect your nerves, care for your kidneys, preserve your eyesight, and give your body the nutrition it needs to work the way it was designed to. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope this information has helped you understand that lowering blood sugar isn't about fear or extreme restriction. It's about making smarter food choices consistently and giving your body the tools it needs to succeed. Stay curious, keep learning, and remember that even small changes practiced every day can lead to remarkable improvements in your long-term health. Together, one meal at a time, you can build a healthier future.